guys. Thanks for joining me for some math today on Monday, even though your booklet says Friday. That was a mix-up on my part. Don't worry too much about that, but worry about getting your math brain ready to go because it's time for math. So get yourself set up and get the video ready to go, and let's work through this page that says Friday, but it's for Monday. Let's work through it together. All right, grade 5, let's get started with our math today. So it's saying Carlos wanted to design a spinner for his new game. He wanted to have a spinner with a 1/4 probability to land on red, an 1/8 probability to land on green, and an 1/8 probability on yellow, and a 1/2 on blue, right? 1/4 red, 1/8 green. So I'm gonna actually underline this. So we want 1/8 is green. I'm gonna circle that in green. Yellow, I'm going to use this marker. I really hope that you can see it. So that's 1/8 for yellow. And red, 1/4 for red. And 1/2 is blue. So now I've got my probability ready to go. And you might be thinking, well, what am I doing with this, Mrs. Oakes? And let me explain, because it's not as complicated as you might believe. So I'm going to go through it. I'm just looking to see if I have a ruler handy, and I don't, so I'm going to use a card, but it doesn't really matter. You just need something to draw a straight line. So I've got this old piece of cardboard here, piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use that. So first I find the middle. Okay, and we're going to go. So we need 1/2 of it is blue. Let's start with the biggest piece. So dividing it into halves, and it's going to be blue. I'm just going to draw a line right across, divide it into 2 pieces, right? Because 1 out of 2 pieces. So here's 1/2, and I'll shade that in blue. And I'm going to write a 1/2 just so you can see. We can break things up. So say you had a pie, and you wanted to share it with someone. Maybe you ate 1/2, and you gave an 1/8 to your brother. Who knows? That's one way to do it. Okay, so we've done blue. Now we're going to do yellow. So to do 1/8, the easiest thing we're going to do is we're going to make a 1/4, okay? So I'm going to make a 1/4. I'll do my red then, because if we start with our bigger pieces, it's easier to break up our smaller pieces. So I'm actually going to move on to red, because that's our next biggest piece, a 1/4. So I find this, and again, it might not be perfect, because I am improvising, but I figure you might be too, right? So do 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 do, and that's 1/4. Next, we're gonna break it into 1/8. So an 1/8, I'm just gonna show you. So here's a circle in half. Here's a circle in 4 pieces. And for 8 pieces, we take those 4 pieces, and yep, you guessed it, we divide each of those into 2. So now we have 8 pieces. So 1/2 of a 1/4 is going to be an 1/8. I have an 1/8 and an 1/8 that I need to make, so why don't I just split this last 1/4 up? So I'm going to split it up, and one part, 1/8, is going to be green. And 1/8 is going to be yellow. So that's all I did. I'm gonna write this in pencil. 1/8. This is our spinner. So I'm gonna actually practice spinning it. If I can find a paper clip, which I can. Okay, I've got my paper clip. It's tiny, but it'll work. If I was gonna spin this, when I spin, I have the best probability of getting a blue. I have a pretty good probability of getting this red, and I have equal but small probability of getting the other color. So let's try. Okay, oh, I got green. Lucky me. Look at this. I got a yellow, blue, blue, red, blue. That's kind of in between. I guess I could call it as a green if I wanted to. So you see how the bigger the piece of the circle, the more probability that your spinner will land on that, because it's got more surfaces for it to land on. So that's all they're doing. You've made the spinner now. And it says, in the circle above, oh, we did that, create a spinner. What color are you most likely to spin? We are most likely to spin blue because it has the biggest piece of the circle. What colors are you equally likely to spin? So which colors are equal? Well, these two are the same size, so you're equally likely to spin yellow and green. Okay, what colors are you least likely to spin? I am least likely to spin yellow and green because they are the smallest piece of the spinner, piece of the pie. Okay? Okay. I got excited for a second because I thought this said Marley, but it's Marie, but that's okay. Marie's mom needs to buy 75 dinner rolls. They're sold 12 per bag. How many bags does she need to buy? So she needs 75, and there's 12 in a bag. So let's think of our 12 times tables, guys. Can you think of them off the top of your head? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. To make it simple, I'm just going to write out a few that might help us. So 5 times 12 is 60. 6 times 12. So 60 isn't right, is 72. And 7 times 12 is 84. So now you know that if she got 5 bags, she'd have 60. If she got 6 bags, she'd have 72 buns. Sorry, why do they need 75 buns? That's a lot of buns. Never mind, back to it. 5 bags would be 60, 6 bags would be 72, and 7 bags would be 84. Now, if she buys 6 bags, she'll only have 72 and she won't have enough. We know that that's not, so I think she's gonna need to buy 7 bags and just have leftovers. So she needs to buy 7 bags of buns. Okay, or dinner rolls, sorry. And she will have how many left over? How do we figure that out? Well, we look at 84. Oh, you guys can't see me on, no, kind of, you can kind of see me. And we have to subtract 75. It's not asking that, but it's interesting to know, right? So she would have to buy 7 bags. 84 subtract 75, okay, is gonna be 9. So she will have 9 buns left over. So we say remainder of 9. Because what we did here, I should have said the question is 75 divided by 12. And we figured that out by looking at our multiplication facts, okay? So we looked at our facts, we know our facts, we know that we need 72. If we bought 6 bags, that wouldn't be enough. So 84 is what we would get if we bought 7 bags. And we'd have some left over, but that's okay. All right, if 1 dozen buns cost $1.99, how much will she need to spend? Ooh, lovely, we can do some multiplication. Awesome. So I'm wondering if I should work this out on the whiteboard actually, so you guys will be able to see. So I'm gonna switch to the whiteboard, and what we're gonna be doing is $1.99 times 7 bags. Okay, so let's go to the whiteboard and do that together. Hey, to do this, you have 2 ways you could do it. You could multiply this that way, the old-fashioned way, or you could think each bag of buns is about, I'm just going to add 7 bags, each bag of buns is about $2, right? Bags, because $1.99, that's $2, guys. Let's just not pretend. So we can say it's about $2. We can multiply that 7 times, so 7 times 2, and then subtract 7 cents. I am going to do it that way because if you were in a store and you were trying to solve this problem, there's no way well, maybe you would be, but I don't think you're going to be pulling out a piece of paper and doing long multiplication. I think the better strategy to teach you is one you could use in real life. So think $2, subtract 7 cents, okay? Because it's 1 cent less than $2. we have 7 bags. So think 7 bags times $2 and then subtract that 7 cents. So 7 bags times $2, think about it, what's 7 times 2 is going to be $14. Okay, and that's like 1,400 cents, or just use the dot. So I'm going to subtract 7 cents, okay? And now I'm going to subtract that. So $14 take away 7 cents. Think 100 take away 7. What's 100 take away 7? Right, 93. So I'm just going to do it that way. 100 take away 7 is 93 cents. So it's going to be $13.93. I'm going to check it. I could check it if I wanted to really do it the old-fashioned way. 0 subtract 7, can't do it, can't do it. This is going to become $13. This is going to become 10, or 10 groups of 10 cents. I'm going to regroup again. Now that's 9. Now I have 10. 10 subtract 7 is 3. 9 subtract 0 is 9. 3 subtract nothing is 3. 10. $13.93. Okay? If you were to do that multiplication, that would work too. But when we're problem solving, it doesn't mean just because we know how to do multiplication doesn't mean we have to do it. If we know an easier way to think about it, a more practical way to think about it, then do that. Don't worry about going and doing your multiplication that way. I did $2 times 7, and then I subtracted 7 cents. I could do that in my head, and you probably could too if you really put your mind to it and you didn't have distractions, right? You just have to think about the numbers a little bit differently. So she's going to spend $13.93. All right, so I'm going to write this down. $13.93. Okay. Okay, now let's move on to the next page. Fractions on a number line. Oh yeah, love fractions. So we're going to work through this. It says, if we wanted, and we did this a little bit, I know now, it should have been yesterday. Now it was last Wednesday, so this has been a while, if you're thinking, oh, I don't remember this. So remember when we divided a whole into parts? This is the same thing. So fractions on a number line. If we want to divide the space between 0 and 1 into fourths, we need to make 4 equal sections between the numbers 0 and 1. Each section represents 1/4 of the space between 0 and 1. So it's like a whole, right? Dividing the whole. You imagine, again, like I said before, you could imagine this space between 0 and 1 as a really, well, wonky chocolate bar, and you're breaking it into 4 pieces. I always find fractions is easiest to think about in food because we use fractions all the time and you might not even notice that you're doing it. Okay, it says now let's label the number line with fractions. We can travel along the number line. When we get to this point, we have traveled 1/4 of the distance of 0 to 1. When we get to this point, we have traveled 3/4 of the difference to 0 to 1. So 1/4, 1/4, 3/4, and if I was to go the rest of the way, I would get the whole way there. So now all they're asking us to do is to fill in the missing fractions on each number line. Fill in the missing fractions on each number line. Okay, so this number line has 5 equal sections. That means that it represents fifths. Okay, so it has 5 equal sections and that represents fifths. So, boo, 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 boo. So I have 0, okay, blank, 2, blank, 4, and 1. What do you think we could put in there? Right, 1/5. 2, okay, let's look at our pattern now. 0, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. Okay, next. This number line has 3 equal sections. That means that it represents thirds. And I know this paper is wonky with my camera, and that's probably really distracting, so I hope that helped. Okay, so it represents thirds. So all you have to do is try to figure out what goes there. So we've got 0, something, 2/3, 1. Okay, well, 1/3. Easy. This number line has 6 equal sections. That means that it represents sixths. So 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 1. I almost said 7/6, and then I realized that would be an improper fraction. Okay, this number line has 2 equal sections. That means that it represents halves. So it represents halves. 2 equal sections, it represents halves. So I'm going to just put 1/2 in the middle because there's only 2 pieces of a half. So there's 0. If I'm driving along the number line, halfway there, whole way there, done. Okay? That was a pretty easy way to start your week. I am going to be posting longer math lessons starting on Thursday. Wait, what day is it? Starting on Wednesday. I'm getting my grade 2-3 and my grade 4-5 schedules mixed up. So grade 5s, you will have longer math lessons starting on Wednesday because I was breaking it up into short little chunks. And now that we are doing them every other day, I will try to include more content for you. So that will mean you're going to be getting a little bit more math time, but it's only every other day. Okay, just like when we're in school. I hope that this video makes sense and my sound effects weren't too distracting. I hope that math was helpful. We are switching up our schedule now, so there's going to be days where you are checking in with your Ukrainian teacher and days where you are checking Miss Lebay or Miss Kravchuk and days where you're checking in with me. And there'll be a schedule and we'll know, you'll know what to do. So I'll be here on your English days to teach you some ELA and some math. And I'm always here, even if it's not an English day. If you need to send me a message and ask me a question, I'm there. I've got you. So I hope you're having a wonderful day and you've enjoyed this math and that these videos are helpful for you. And I think I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to stop now. So yeah, have a great day, guys.